No, I'd prefer to stay.
There. That's the moment that created a new universe. When asked to leave the room, Margaret Peggy Carter chose to stay.
Hey, I'm Derek.
And I'm Noah, and you're listening to a new season of A Bite Of,
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and enjoy it one nibble at a time.
I really hope that was cued in correctly because this volume on my computer was really low and I had to really listen for the
We had like a silent little dance party.
Yeah.
As many of you know, we like to jam out to our theme song when it plays, but this time it was like,
I really hope you guys do too. Do you guys like our theme song?
comment below. They're like, no, we hate it.
We know. I never ask people that. I wonder, like, do you guys skip it? Do you guys like it? Do you guys dance too? Like, I just imagine because we have so many people that will like tell us like, oh, you get me through my commute to work. It's like, do you dance in your car? I really hope you do.
They're like, no, I started at home. I fast forward that crap right there. And then I started with you guys babbling.
They just go to right in the middle of the episode. And I was like, no, these guys still don't know what they're talking about.
I'm done. Well, we figure like what our theme song is like 5 seconds long, and there's like the 10-second skip if you're listening.
I think
on
it's 11 seconds.
Oh, so it'd go blast right past it.
Yeah.
Oh
well, whatever.
Well,
Let
we
us know.
dance to it.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into this new property and this new season and this new episode that you're listening to, as always, make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at A Bite of Pod. Leave us that 5-star rating and review wherever you want. Or just message us, whatever you want to do. And we have a Patreon and a Apple subscription where you can get bonus episodes and support the show if you want to. Just like the newest Patreon member, James Parker. Now, James, you signed up on Patreon as with like a screen name, but you had your name in the email and stuff like that. So I hope it was okay that I said your name. We'll see.
Also, your name is easier to rhyme for the pun.
Yeah.
So, James Parker, our days sure would be darker without your support.
Oh, that's nice.
It's like nice when they make sense.
Where we don't have to like make up a word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you so much. It's always so sweet.
That is really cool.
You guys are great.
Thanks, James.
Yeah, and I like seeing you guys on social media. It's really nice.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we have an episode to do. That wasn't the only thing we had to do today. So we are covering What If.
Oh.
I think it was no surprise to people that we would be covering this. Marvel's just coming up with so much content. It's not our fault. It just happens to be the most obsessive thing.
It's the thing where it's the pop culture that we're most currently obsessed with.
Yeah, exactly.
Current favorite pop. I don't know. I don't know what I say.
I was super excited for this because I loved the comic books growing up because they're crazy. It's based off of a comic series that it's like literally, what if Thor was a fish? And it was a story. That's all. Like, it's crazy.
I like how that one's what if, but then Throg makes it into canon through Loki.
Which I'm happy about, though, because then we saw him in the MCU in the Loki TV show. So, as always, we usually do a little research just to keep you up to speed and let you know little fun information tidbits, but I'm doing it this time because what if it's changing the game a little bit? We're in an alternate reality.
What if Noah did the research? This is what it would be like.
And we didn't do, if you notice, we didn't do it before you watch insert show that we're going to be talking about here because we don't know what's going to be coming from this show, these episodes.
Yeah, we'd have to read every single issue of What If that ever existed and tell you every single storyline.
And I guarantee you, especially by this first episode, none of them are comics, and they're just doing stories that they want to do.
So this is like OG MCU What Ifs.
Yeah.
Not OG, original.
Right. Isn't OG original? Oh,
yeah,
no.
But not original in the comics original
Anyway.
MCU. No, I was right. I doubted myself.
Yeah.
Guys, don't doubt yourselves.
So this particular episode has Captain Carter, Peggy Carter as the front and center. Very happy about that. I feel like this episode, if you're not really a Peggy Carter fan, you might be a little like, but it was a good episode, regardless where you stand with Peggy Carter. So she as Captain Carter has appeared in other media before this. And she actually became very popular. She started in the Marvel Puzzle Quest mobile game. That's where she first appeared.
Okay.
In a phone game. And somebody liked her so much that in the comics, in Exiles Volume 3, number 3 comic, she appeared in their first appearance. So I always like that. I like that you have people that work at these companies that can transcend different medias and like, oh, people like that? Let me bring them into this.
So she went from like Candy Crush to actually becoming a real thing.
In comics, yeah. And so the Exiles, just to give you, it's funny because it's like a group of heroes that are plucked from other universes to solve problems with the multiverse. So it's interesting because it's like, that's the perfect way to introduce a character like that doesn't really exist in the comics, but it's like a cool way to get him in there. So technically she's comics canon and now she's MCU canon. Ballin'. So with this Peggy Carter and What If seems like a universe hopping super soldier serum Captain Carter, I would recommend reading Exiles Volume 3, number 3. Just if you like that. That way you get a little more backstory with her. So with this What If show, there is this mysterious figure that we all have seen called the Watcher. So who is this Watcher guy?
Tell me more.
I'm going to break it down very simply for you because they've had very long histories in the comics. And I'm just going to tell you probably that you already know from watching the first episode. This character appeared in Fantastic Four, Volume 1, number 13 in the 1960s. And it was called Introduction of the Watcher.
Well, there you go. Get right to it. Don't bury the lead.
So this particular Watcher that's in What If is part of a group of Watchers. There's a group of Watchers, but this Watcher is one that's typically gets in trouble in the MCU, or not the MCU, the comics. And here it's the same Watcher. It's Uatu the Watcher, voiced by Jeffrey Wright, which I will just say, perfect narrating voice.
I have to say, when I know what the Watcher looks like, and I thought he was gonna have like a "I'm the Watcher" kind of voice, but this is like pitch perfect. I feel.
Yeah,
it feels more grand this way.
It does. It feels more cosmic, more like cosmic entity-y. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So they are part of a race known as the Watchers, and the Watchers' original goal was to guide the universe. So they're more of like, kind of like what the Eternals were kind of meant to do.
Sure.
Kind of guide them and make sure it's on the right course. After their efforts had backfired, they resorted to only observing events. So they're like, you know what? I don't think it's good to like even interfere a little bit. So they all vowed and took an oath to never interfere again. But actually, Uatu doesn't interfere quite a bit. He's like the rebellious one out of the group. And there was even a comic where it was like the trials of Uatu because he interfered so much that he was just fucking up the timeline all over the place. I mean, sorry.
Come on,
so
man.
I have a feeling that might happen in this one, hence why he's like the only Watcher they're showing. He might interfere a little bit. So Uatu, in this particular comic, in the Fantastic Four, when he was first introduced, this was like his first kind of interfering. The Fantastic Four were on the moon battling this enemy, and Uatu interfered to break up the fight. And then that's how he introduced himself. I mean, just imagine you're like on the moon already. So it's like, okay, weird. And then you're fighting this weird creature. And then it's like this giant headed guy in this very elegant robe.
Cloaks.
Just comes out and is like, hey guys, stop fighting.
Why did he stop it? Like, why did he want to stop it?
Because he just didn't feel like they needed to be fighting.
Oh, that's sort of nice.
Yeah.
All right.
But also he knew he wasn't supposed to be interfering.
Uatu.
Yeah, and then that just caused a whole ripple of events, which led to the trial of Uatu. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so that's the Watcher. That's who we've been hearing the voice of.
So you're predicting that there will be most likely some dabbling happening in the series at some point.
Yeah, because what if seems like it's doing, we're watching events that he's watching or they are watching, and it just makes sense for this character to be a more integral part than just having two lines, one at the beginning of the episode and one at the end. So and he has a character poster too. So I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Right now he's just stars. We haven't even seen him. We just have like a loose outline.
Exactly. So that brings me to what if? So this latest Marvel Studios Disney Plus project is an animated anthology show created by Troll Hunters, Tales of Arcadia writer A.C. Bradley, and Marvel storyboard vet. Did I say that right? Storyboard. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
It sounded weird in my mouth. I don't know.
In
my mouth.
In my mouth, it sounded weird.
It sounded very weird. I was about to ask, let me know if I'm going too fast, like I'm giving a presentation at work.
Well,
whatever.
I'll tell you this. You're killing it so far. There haven't been any ums or uhs or anything like that.
Oh, I think
And I'm understanding the information. And the PowerPoint presentation is phenomenal.
So, yeah, little do you guys know, I have a big PowerPoint presentation.
Just for me.
Just for Derek and the cat. So let me back up a little bit. And by Marvel storyboard vet, Brian Andrews. The show pretty much aims to explore alternate timelines and realities of the MCU multiverse. And I have questions so this is MCU canon, but are we going to see it in the MCU?
I just watched an entire season of a show where I was told there was only one timeline.
Oh, yeah.
And here we are. Apparently, there aren't.
Well, that's fun. Like, I literally have in my notes, like, it helps to watch Loki before you watch this. Because, it's like Marvel, you usually want to, like, watch all the movies. So that way you're not lost. I would say, like, if you watch Loki, you're probably caught up. And it's like, that's probably the one thing that I would recommend to watch. Because they opened up the multiverse. This whole notion of the multiverse and stuff like that. So it's like, this idea of being alternate timelines and stuff like that isn't crazy anymore.
And I just feel like in Marvel, we're never going to ever be allowed to forget the Tesseract.
No,
it always comes back to the Tesseract.
It's so weird. It's like it's cool. It's like gets you places, but that's it, really.
But isn't like the big prize what's in the box?
Well, right. The Infinity Stone is in the box.
Yeah.
The Tesseract is the stone. It's just disguised as this cube, the Cosmic Cube, which it is weird because in the comics there is something called the Cosmic Cube, which is the Tesseract, but it's not an Infinity Stone. So they kind of just married the two things because they're like, oh, there's a name for a cube, and we didn't want to let people know that there was Infinity Stones yet because they were hiding Thanos in the background during the whole thing. So I don't know. It's like, also, show me more stones. Like, I want to know what's happening with the Soul Stone, personally. Come on.
Hello. I also want to know when the limited edition Tesseract jewelry box is going to be coming out that lights up and holds your very own personal Infinity Stones.
They might have that, actually.
Gorgeous.
I think there was maybe when Infinity War came out, I have to check again because there was like a box like the Infinity Saga and it looked like the Tesseract, which I want to get, but it was like $400, $500.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and it's like I have all the movies on Disney Plus now.
Oh.
But it's like, I want the box.
Want the box. Want the box.
It's like I've had like 4 variations of Harry Potter movie collections because they just keep coming out with them.
And they're so pretty.
Yeah. But that's like the basic research. And, part of the reason, again, why we didn't do a Before You Watch is because once we watch these episodes, then it's like, oh, they're pulling from this story. So then we can kind of talk about that and give you like just the basic comic book knowledge. Because if you're watching these shows and stuff, you might be interested in that stuff anyway.
It sounds like we have to do an after you watch.
Yeah.
Like, this is where they got this from. This is what this Easter egg meant.
Yeah. And I'll try to recommend some good stuff to read. So that's how the season is going to go.
You always do. All right, before we get into the episode, of course, we have to issue a spoiler alert.
Yeah, if I didn't already spoil some things in that research, but whatever.
If you don't want to know how Captain Carter came to be and where her journey goes, then stop listening now. All right, so let us officially take a bite of episode 1. What if Captain Carter were the first Avenger?
It'd be amazing. There, I answered it. Episode
done. Okay, bye guys. All
right, so I do want to ask. So I was hesitant when I first saw that this was going to be animated and when I first saw the animation. After watching the first episode, what are your general thoughts of the animation? I just want to like get this out of the way.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. I think they did a lot of really cool stuff. Obviously, it's stylized, right? Because it's taking place during the 40s, so it has that whole look with it. They did a couple of really fun things of like where a scene will end and the black will come into a circle, which is sort of like old school cartoons. I think they did a really great job of animating the fighting sequences. She has some badass fighting sequence in this. And something that I personally really liked were all the explosions.
Yeah, they did an interesting job with this animation. I liked it too. I think I'm still like settling with it. It's good. But it's like, it's giving me like flashbacks of that. What is that show by the Avatar The Last Bender people? They did, it was on Netflix. It was like the Dragon Prince.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch that show because of the animation. And I know that sounds a little snobby, but it just seemed choppy. Like the way they moved wasn't smooth. And that's what worried me about this. But it's like as if they did the animation correctly for that. Like it should be smooth.
This is a little more fluid than that animation. Although I do think that they still struggle a little bit with like hair movement and things like that. But I think overall it's much better than the Dragon Prince.
Yeah, they mixed a couple styles too. Like if you notice some of the like plumes of smoke and stuff like that, it looks more drawn.
Yeah.
Than like CGI or 3D or whatever. I don't even know what to call this type of animation style. If you know, let me know.
Comment below.
Comment below to let me know. So, and then one more thing, voice actors. How did you feel about the voice acting? Because they brought these actors that we've seen in the movies back for this. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody that like stands out or like did not do a good job and should just stick to MCU?
Should I start with my positive or my negative?
It's up to you.
All right, I'll start just with my one little negative. So the one person that I thought did not deliver as well as I hoped they would was Sebastian Stan.
Yep, that's literally the only person I have in my notes.
He sounded a little like he wasn't comfortable doing it, felt like.
Every sentence sounded the same. For whatever was going on, it was like the same tone.
I do feel like we'll get into it. I have some, like this entire episode, the Bucky Barnes character, all he did was make like silly one-liners. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know, that's not a lot for Sebastian Stan to work with, but his first line wasn't that type of one-liner, and I felt like it didn't deliver.
Well, he had
didn't feel natural.
He had a few other lines where there was something happening, and he was just like, "We need to go."
Yeah,
it's almost sounded like, I don't know when they did the voice acting for this, but it almost sounded like they sent people like him recording equipment at his house,
right?
And they're like, "Here, record just these 7 lines," and he's like trying to be quiet because there's like people in the house or something. Yeah, that's what it sounded like. He was probably, not the strongest. Everybody else, I mean. Peggy Carter, which was played by Peggy Carter in the MCU and the show, phenomenal.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
I almost didn't think it was her because of how good the voice acting was. I was like, oh, get it.
Yeah, she was great. Stanley Tucci was great. It was interesting though because Chris Evans didn't come back.
Yeah, the only one that didn't come back.
And I was like, oh, and like for some reason I tried to like make sense of it. I was like, well, yeah, I guess he didn't play skinny Steve. No, he did.
No, he did.
Yeah. So I'm like, why? But this guy actually sounded like him.
He did sound quite like him, but I do have to give, that dude some credit. I kept saying that dude like I don't have his name. Josh Keaton.
Yeah.
Have to give him some credit for doing a great Steve Rogers.
I agree. But it was funny because I didn't realize it until I was doing my research, especially on IMDb. It calls him Skinny Steve Rogers.
Yeah, so he's not even like Steve Rogers.
No.
He's Skinny Steve Rogers.
They made sure he was a different character.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. So this episode really explored what would have happened if Steve Rogers wasn't given the super soldier serum during World War II and Peggy Carter volunteered to be Dr. Erskine's guinea pig instead. So that's the whole premise of this. And it is interesting, and I'm curious to see how the rest of the episodes go, but we got some of the same beats from Captain America and the First Avenger, which I did think was interesting because we got to see it tweaked just a little bit. Like there was one small decision which created a big effect, but then there was little tiny decisions that, was just interesting to see.
Right.
And I would say this episode moved very quickly.
Yeah, these are fast. You figure, right? They're like, I think this one, the runtime was 33 minutes, but that's not including credits or anything like that.
Yeah, and we got all of Captain America, the First Avenger in less than 30 minutes.
Exactly. See, when you cut the USO tour out, it's a much smaller movie.
Oh, I mean, I was kind of hoping that would happen, but with like Skinny Steve. And like the costume. They fitted it for him to be like Super Soldier Steve, but he's just like...
Exactly. It's like a kid wearing a costume, an adult costume.
Yeah. I want to see how the rest of these episodes play out. And I'm curious if it was just because we know this story with like slightly variations, but some of these other stories coming up, people have never seen before and the MCU
totally
have heard
different.
of. So
yeah.
Keeping an eye out for that. So Peggy's what if in this episode was deciding to stand her ground and stay in the room while the serum was administered during the iconic transformation sequence featured in Captain America, the First Avenger. She then had a chance because, as we know, Hydra tried to intervene there and blow this experiment up because why would they want their enemy to get a super soldier?
Right.
Makes sense. She had a chance to intervene, but Steve got there first because he was up on that platform and was shot.
Womp.
Yeah. So with time running out to perform the super soldier process, Peggy jumped into the machine and became Captain Carter. And I loved how, like, they bulked her up without it looking ridiculous.
No, it was great.
You know?
Yeah, it was a pretty baller move. She was just like, I got it. Look, I got the vial. Just, hey, Howard Stark, don't worry about it. Just pop me in.
Just do it.
He's like, all right, this is our one shot. We got to do it. They're like, someone was just shot. The whole place is going to blow up. They're like, but let's do this.
Well, I mean, they only have one chance to do it. So it does make sense that she was like, come on, guys. Like,
Come on.
I'll do it.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
She does gain all the physical powers of Steve Rogers' Captain America, along with a different costume and an altered shield with the Union Jack at the center. I love that.
Right.
It's so cool.
It looks great.
Yeah. Awesome. And this, I love her hair with the costume. Like, just the design of the character. It is literally just Peggy Carter in a superhero costume.
Right.
It's like, it works. It's
Well,
perfect.
You know, again, I'm always worried about protection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not even a lick of a helmet or a cowl.
With that hair? No, you can't mess up that hair.
I don't know. Is the hair as hard as a shield? I don't know.
No.
No one's worried.
No.
I'm worried.
Well, apparently nobody aims other than just mid-center
Right, exactly.
when they shoot, so she does not need protection.
Totally.
Yeah, she just needs to hold the shield up.
Yep,
And
she just ducks her head right behind it. She's fine.
But it was cool to see that, you know, I guess we can kind of assume that Peggy had the same, I don't know, morals or the type of person that Steve was, because as we know from, you know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the Cap movies, the serum can change people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're a good person, you become better. If you're a bad person, you become worse. And it was like Peggy was courageous, brave, and amazing to begin with. And now she's all of those things, but with badass moves and a shield.
Heck yeah. I mean, well, she's true. She's true through and through. I mean, if it was her niece,
Oh, Sharon.
I don't think so.
Ugh, imagine.
Power broker?
No, thank you.
No.
Mm-mm.
She'd be brokering power everywhere. She'd be.
Didn't you make that same joke in that season?
I did not.
I think you did.
Everybody listen back. I know I've never made that joke before.
Yeah, go try to find that, guys.
I don't think so.
I'll check the archives.
Thank you.
I'll have our assistant do
Yeah,
that.
we have our metadata specialist here that obviously catalogs everything that we say into specific files. It's Ziggy.
So Steve had been badly injured and had to undergo intense physical therapy while Peggy trained as Captain Carter. We do get the scene of Red Skull finding the Tesseract that we've seen in Captain America and the First Avenger, and Peggy and co. coming up with the plan on how to stop him. This happens quite a few times, which I did think was interesting that we got more scenes with them planning stuff than, you know, other scenes outside of the war room.
Yes, I felt like there were lots of looking at a large map and moving pieces around, lots of planning scenes.
Yeah.
I just have a question.
No.
What? I don't care. What the heck is Colonel John Flynn's problem?
He's a misogynist.
He's just an ass.
Yeah.
I hate him.
I have a couple different names for him in my notes.
Okay.
So.
Well, hopefully, whip him out.
No, I'm like, you could literally just call him any negative name and it's like, it fits.
That's Flynn. That's who we're talking about. Also, I want to say that apparently the Super Soldier Project cost $60 million
Yep.
in the 40s.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's like $1 billion now. They really put a lot in this.
I mean, that's why they were like, we need to do it now.
And that's why Dr. Erskine is so rich.
He's dead.
He's dead. R.I.P.
He's dead.
Did he die in this one?
I don't remember, but no, yeah, I think he exploded.
Oh, he
because then
exploded.
Howard Stark was the only one.
Oh, you're right. Pushing the buttons.
Right. So Peggy decides to make her move for the Tesseract and ambush some Hydra doo-doo heads.
Yep.
She's stopping trucks, exploding motorcycles, playing Nazi whack-a-mole, and bending knees the wrong way, and having a grand old time.
One, Whack-A-Mole is one of my favorite games ever, but I like the one that was crocodiles.
I hated it, but go on.
Okay, well, we're fighting. It's fine. Two, I did not appreciate the knee whacking scene.
Why?
It was horrifying.
Oh, but it was awesome because this big old doo-doo head comes up. Yeah. And she's just one hit, done.
But three, this scene was badass because I feel like this is the first time that she got to see the extent of her power.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
She threw her motorcycle into another motorcycle.
True, yeah. One of the next scenes we get is we see Peggy actually being the one to rescue the 107th from captivity. And we get that slow-mo exit scene, just like Steve from his movie, where they open the door and he has the pistol and shooting. Pew, pew, pew. But it's with Peggy this time.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
This is when we get our first Bucky one-liner. Who are you supposed to be? Queen of England?
Did he say that?
Yep.
No.
Yep. Dum Doo Doo Head. What's his name?
Oh,
Dum Dugan.
Dugan, yeah.
Yeah.
Duncan. Yeah.
Yeah. He like moves out of the way and then Bucky comes out of the shadows and that's what he says.
Wow. I think I was just, what was I? Maybe taking notes. I guess I missed it twice because we watched it twice.
I noticed at the end, the first time we watched it at the end, I noticed a couple of the quips. I'm like, there's got to be more of these. So I wrote down all of them.
Oh, great.
There's 3 more.
Okay. I can't wait. We then get a Nazi butt-kicking montage, accompanied with swing music and the works. It's perfection. We also do see that Howard Stark has the Tesseract because Peggy Carter was able to get it. I'm sorry, Captain Carter was able to get the Tesseract, and he creates this mysterious machine behind this curtain, and it's being this machine's being powered by the Tesseract. It's Iron Man Mach 1.
Exactly.
From his,
he invented Iron Man, basically, right?
Pretty much, which kind of is like, oh, maybe his plans were floating around, and that's how Tony had it in the back of his head when he was captured and then was able to make the suit.
They said, so Tony had the money, but his dad had the ideas.
I mean, wouldn't put it past him.
Ooh.
And in this training montage, so we see that, after she rescues them, the 107th, they're outside, air support comes in, and it's Steve in this
The Hydra Stomper. We do get also a scene with her flying on the back of it. It reminds me very much of like Iron Giant, but with dog fights. Yes. Again, killer. They were like, you know what? We've had her fighting on the ground with cars. How do we make her fight with planes? Badass.
Yeah, she's just literally flying or flying.
Jumping?
Yeah, from plane to plane, smashing into the plane and then just throwing them out. Or just bashing their head in from the outside.
Going straight into propellers with the shield, breaking them, and then just breaking skulls.
I was concerned that we were going to get that scene of, just like in Captain America, where the guy comes out of the plane and gets sliced up by the propellers. I feel like they kind of played homage to that because she throws one of them out of the plane and he hits the side. It was like that close to the propeller. And I was like, okay, I guess it's not that type of show. Fine.
They're not chopping up lunch meat style.
We'll see what happens with the zombie ones.
Yo, true. Yeah.
So Peggy and Steve's relationship blossoms a bit. And with some help from Howard Stark, Steve isn't just going to be somebody, going through rehab and stuff like that. He is going to be pretty much Captain Carter's psychic through this.
Yeah. Because they both have the soul of a hero.
Oh, yeah. You're my hero, and you're my hero.
We can be heroes together.
Yeah. I do like that Steve is being Peggy just like he had in his movie and the one that we know.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem weird that Steve is the psychic. He's not a supporting character. And I what is another word than psychic?
Second in command?
I guess supporting... whatever. It's not weird. So the roles are reversed a little bit And I like it. Their chemistry still works exactly the same. I mean, forever, Peggy and Steve.
Okay, no, I agree with that, but I want to just play devil's advocate a little bit here, right? So in the movie, right, he becomes the hero, and then she's always just Peggy Carter, right? She doesn't
Agent Peggy
Agent Carter. She doesn't get any special suit or anything like that.
No.
In this one, oh, boo-hoo, the guy couldn't become the hero. Well, guess what? We still got to make him a hero.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't she just be a badass by herself?
I mean, she still was, though. Like, the suit wasn't that great. I'm just saying, like, I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, I guess he didn't have to have it.
I mean, it's still
need
cool.
to be involved. Yeah.
But it's like no. But Steve, he still needs to have.
Well, I think
some
maybe because it is
heroics.
Steve Rogers. Like, maybe if it was another character that wasn't really cared about, but it's like this guy literally just like saved the universe in the MCU. So it's like, let's give him a little more screen time. But also, it wasn't even Chris Evans. So it's like
skinny Steve.
Skinny Steve. I mean, when you put it that way, then I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, I guess, she could have had just more time to herself.
Yeah.
But she's still outshone everybody in this episode.
Totally.
I'm just going to say.
Totally.
Yeah. And throughout all this, Peggy does face some interference from Colonel John Flynn, who had not a hard time just spewing misogyny anytime that he could.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, women aren't soldiers. They might break a nail. It's like, okay, you're lucky to be in this room. Okay, thanks for talking to me like that. I hate that.
Yeah. He's a real dweeb.
He's an asshole.
I hate him.
Next, we get the familiar first Avenger train sequence. This time, Peggy leads the mission with Steve, Bucky Barnes, and the Howling Commandos to take out Red Skull. The big difference here was Steve ended up falling from the train this time and not Bucky. So it stands to reason that Bucky wouldn't then go on to be the Winter Soldier?
Right.
Question mark?
Which leads to his stand-up comedy career, because this is when we get Bucky quip number 2. Something about this smells as fresh as 3-day-old fish.
Did he say what?
He said that.
He
said this plan is fishy.
I don't remember that. I remember him saying whenever she pulls him up from the car from falling, that he's like, you almost tore my arm off, which was a callback to him losing his arm.
Right. But he didn't. Instead, the fish line.
Oh, man. I don't even remember that. Maybe my brain just knew it was stupid and was just like, you didn't hear that. You don't remember that.
We've got 2 more coming.
Oh, there's more?
There's 2 more.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Jeez. But I do want to say, like, I kind of, like, it, without the moment of somebody going in that trajectory to become Winter Soldier, I almost thought it was going to be Steve that was going to become the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But, we know it's not from watching this episode, and my mind just, like, I feel like that's going to happen during the show, that it's going to go down the, like, what if rabbit hole, because I feel like this first episode was a little tame in any possibility that they could have done, but I mean, it can only get crazier from here, and I just feel like I'm going to be like, but what if Steve did become Winter Soldier?
I mean, after this scene, when things go boom, boom, he does get captured.
Right, but not brainwashed.
No, it's just to get the Tesseract from the Hydra Stomper.
Yeah, actually, that makes sense. I think in my head when I first watched it, I'm like, why is Steve even there still? I'm like, why did they capture him?
Yes, I didn't.
I didn't put the Tesseract together.
Right. I actually worked that out the second time, because I was like, wait a minute. If she captured Zola and the Tesseract, how did they get the Tesseract back? Like, oh, that's why they needed the Hydra Stomper to get the Tesseract out of it.
Gotcha.
Oof.
Yeah.
Although in the movie, is Red Skull trying to get Cthulhu?
No.
No. Okay.
No, not that. No.
Yeah.
No way.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I mean, and I'll get into it when we get to that scene, but that was like creative liberties on these guys' parts for sure. Which was fine, because I think you do need to change it a little bit, because different things have happened. The same exact scenes can't possibly happen every time.
Right.
So after Steve falls and they weren't able to find him and they leave, Peggy, Bucky, and the Commandos go back to camp to come up with a new plan. Colonel Asshat Flynn says more asshat things about how Peggy should have never went into the field, blah, 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 blah. After, during the montage scene, he's like talking to all these higher-ups in DC saying like, yeah, I told Peggy she should do that. Yeah, I told Howard Stark he should make that suit. It's like, Fuck off.
Taking credit for everything.
Yeah, fuck off. I don't
Full of
like
shit,
you.
Flynn.
Peggy still isn't done with her mission and questions Zola, which she gets all the information that she possibly needs. She takes the group to confront Red Skull directly to burn that castle to the ground.
When hearing about this plan that Red Skull has, Bucky Barnes says, talk about being a few sardines short of a can.
That one does sound vaguely familiar.
All right, I'm just.
Wow. Are you sure it wasn't Howard Stark saying this?
Yes.
Okay. Because they kind of look similar in this show. They do. They have like the little pompadour hair and...
Noah,
Yes.
in most of these scenes with Bucky, Stark isn't even there.
Oh, okay. God, why do I feel like I don't remember Bucky in this?
You refuse to believe
I mean,
that Bucky would be like this.
Sebastian Stan should just not voice acting.
Without years and years and years of brainwashing, turns out Bucky's a pretty lighthearted guy. He
And
likes
monotone,
joking
too.
around. Can't really deliver the joke, but man, he loves him.
Oh, my God. So, next we cue an amazing scene of Captain Carter mowing down Nazis, throwing vehicles, leaping castle walls, and looking absolutely amazing. The scene after she jumps over the wall, gets perfectly eclipsed with the moon, and then goes down there and is running against the wall and taking down all these Nazis is amazing.
Yes.
I'm like, this is what's interesting about the show. It's animated one, so they're able to do all of these like ballet floating looking moves that they can't really do in reality because it does look a little weird. But if you notice from the other shows we've gotten, there's never been like this action heavy right up front. Falcon and Winter Soldier is almost there. They did have some action, especially in the first episode, but this one was just beat after beat action. And most of these other ones we've got were just talky-walky, you know, drama, mystery.
That fight choreo, that costs a lot, man.
Oh, yeah.
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 Stun doubles. Whew.
So Red Skull ends up using the Tesseract to summon a tentacled champion of Hydra. This Cthulhu monster isn't from the comics, but I wonder if we'll see it again. This character just does not exist in the comics. Characters like this does, but there's nothing like called the champion of Hydra.
Right.
So I wonder if it's just like a play on like their
The tentacles, yeah.
emblem or what? I mean,
maybe he always knew. Well, it's interesting, right? Because when we first see him going to get the Tesseract from that wall at that old man's house, there is the etching of the portal with the tentacles coming out. So it makes it seem like in the Hydra lore, there is this tentacle beast.
Was it tentacles or branches?
No, it was tentacles.
Oh, okay. Well, tentacles, branches, same thing. They're windy, lots of things.
Sure. I would like to give you our final Bucky quip.
Okay.
Upon seeing the Cthulhu-like monster coming out of the portal,
I know this one.
He says, "Oh, wow, who ordered the calamari?"
He is from Brooklyn.
I mean, I'll give that to him.
Yeah. So it kind of makes sense.
I love
Red Skull ends up meeting his demise by the creature he summoned.
Ooh, crunch.
Bye. But, this makes me wonder, though, because what does that mean for the Guardian of the Soul Stone if they even eventually do have a Infinity War in this timeline? Because it seems like even though she became Captain America, Captain Carter, the train sequence still happened. The train sequence was a little different, but some of the same beats were happening. So it begs the question, who's guarding the Soul Stone, or is the situation different at the Soul Stone? Because Red Skull, at the end of it, when he gets taken from the Tesseract and all this stuff, he goes there, which we don't find out for movies later. But he dies here, so I don't know.
Maybe he gets pulled into the portal, and then he does go there, and instead of being in like a cloak, he's just covered in tentacles.
Okay.
He looks like...
he becomes the tentacle guy.
Yeah, he looks like that pirate. With the tentacle face.
Davy Jones?
Yeah.
From Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
That is Disney, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's him. Yar.
All right. So Hydra Stomper Steve didn't actually die. He was just being held captive at this point. Fight ensues with a bunch of tentacles. You don't really ever get to see the face of this creature. Peggy has to sacrifice herself to push it back into the space portal from whence it came, but not before reminding us on how sad it was that Steve and Peggy just wanted to have their dance, and they don't get it in the MCU until the very end of Steve's career, in the MCU.
and ever so softly, I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston plays.
No, it's
Slow
much
jam
softer.
style.
Oh, okay. Acoustic version.
Yeah.
And I do want to, Captain Carter with a shield and a sword.
Oh, yeah.
That sword just added so much more to this. And I'm like, oh, perfect.
It felt so much more British, didn't it?
It kind of did. And it reminded me a lot of, because a lot of people were asking, like, why isn't this character called Captain Britain? Because there's literally a character in Marvel called Captain Britain.
Yeah.
That looks a lot like Captain Carter in her outfit. So it just makes more sense, Captain Carter instead of Captain Britain, because I'm holding out hope that Captain Britain at least shows up at some point, because that means a really cool superhero team is going to come. Anyway, that's
right.
That's just my thing. So fast forward 70 years in the future, Nick Fury uses the Tesseract to free Peggy from wherever she ended up after she entered the portal, and it looks like she has joined the Infinity Saga era Avengers initiative in Steve's place. So just like how when Hawkeye and Nick Fury summoned Loki, unfortunately, they actually used the Tesseract to bring Peggy back. So she was frozen, maybe? I don't know if time passed differently wherever she was from, because right when she comes out, she asks for Steve, which was really sweet. And he's like, the war ended like 70 years ago, dummy.
Yeah. It doesn't look like she was, like she got
Aware.
old
Mhm.
or anything. She also comes out with like freshly chopped tentacles. So it seems like whatever happened, she just stopped.
Actually, that's a good point, because Isaiah Bradley, if we're going off of how the serum and stuff works in aging with this, Isaiah Bradley does look a little older. He's not as old as he should be.
Mm-hmm.
He was there during Steve's time.
Yeah.
So if Peggy was aware and aging at the same rate, she would reasonably be a little older.
Yeah.
Looks like no time passed by.
Yeah.
So
It's like she took a nap.
yeah. Or was just like, it was like 5 minutes for her, or maybe
Yeah.
like a couple years. And
Well, I guess it's like the mirror of what happened to Steve, right? When he was frozen.
exactly. That's why I was like, was she frozen in time kind of?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
not?
frozen in time.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah, there we go. So, like, I mean, these episodes are so short and so quick, but it's super fun to talk about the differences and the
Yeah.
choices that things
Yeah.
make.
I think part of the challenge, though, is going to be the thing of sort of like what you were saying before, just accepting these as they are and not being like, but what, this is what's supposed to happen, or that's what's supposed to happen. Or,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they just are.
Yeah, there's these in DC, I'm not sure, I don't think Marvel calls them these, because I think Marvel has like the Fear Itself universe, and like other universes are like What If comics, but they're like Elseworld stories where it's
Mhm.
like they could maybe take place in canon in the sacred timeline, but it's fun stories to see what would happen if a choice. This kind of story is like old as time,
Mhm.
you know, little tiny decisions, the butterfly effect, all of that. What would change if, I don't know, something happened, you know? So it is fun. You do have to kind of like, you have to like take your like comic bookiness or your knowledge and be like, okay, I know what's supposed to happen, but let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested. I'm more excited for the later episodes. It was really cool to see Peggy Carter again. And I know that she's going to be in some of the episodes coming up. And we know that there's going to be more seasons of What If than just this one. Because this was the one show everybody knew there was going to be multiple seasons for.
And
So-
you can do whatever you want. with
Exactly.
these.
Exactly. You can bring any character in you want. But then I think people will start asking, is this MCU canon? Like, it could be in a different universe, but
Right.
are we ever going to see? Like, imagine if the Fantastic Four get introduced in this and then it's like, then they're in the MCU. So I feel like they could probably do that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Head scratcher.
Sorry.
But that's exactly the point, though, right? Is that it's like we're always looking for, you know, the quote unquote sacred timeline. When is this going to be real? When is this going to be true? And I almost feel like the point of this show is that it never has to become part of the main story.
Well, yeah. I mean, technically it is the MCU, but
Well, right, but it doesn't have to fit into anything because it's what if?
right. Yeah. Yeah.
What if?
Yeah. I mean, but what if was in the sacred timeline? I don't know. All right. I'm done talking.
What if? So it's time for a brand new special segment.
hmm
And so this one,
I'm not doing it because that was awful. I'm just saying I did not like the pressure of doing a special segment.
you
at the
did
end
such a
of
good
this.
job.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Keep going.
So this one it really has like nothing to do with the show other than the word what.
I think that's typically how we do things, though.
Yeah. Everybody just go with it.
We just want to give you fun facts. That's what we want to do.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So this special segment is called Things That Make You Go, What? And today, the fact that'll make you go, what?
Oh, God.
Is about koalas.
Oh, eucalyptus eaters.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? That's where our story begins. Because as we know, koalas love eucalyptus.
Mm-hmm.
They can eat lots of it every single day.
They're sleepy, too.
So sleepy. They sleep a lot. They eat a lot of eucalyptus. And now here's another fact that I'm really interested in wondering if you know about.
Oh, am I giving away all your facts? I'm sorry.
No. You're actually, you're giving the setup away, but it's fine. It's fine.
You're welcome.
So koalas eat a lot of eucalyptus. And the magical thing is that eucalyptus is very high in fiber, but it's also full of a lot of bacteria.
Oh.
Adult koalas can digest this because they have microbes in their digestive system that help break this down and protect them from the bacteria.
Okay.
Baby koalas do not have this, little baby joeys. Okay?
Are they called joeys?
They're called joeys.
That's kangaroos.
It's kangaroos. The articles that I read call them joeys.
Oh, maybe like that. Whatever. Anyway, go on.
That's just what they call all babies in Australia.
Apparently.
Yeah, down under. So the little baby koala lives in its mom's pouch and then it drinks milk from there. But also they need to get those microbes in their system because they won't be able to eat the eucalyptus when they get older.
Uh-huh.
So they eat something called pap. What pap is their mom's poop.
Fun. Oh, that makes total sense.
Yep.
It's disgusting, but it makes sense.
So the mom breaks down the eucalyptus leaves, poops out poop, and then extra special liquid poop called pap comes out.
Oh, wait, it's two different types of poop?
Yeah, there's like regular poop and then the pap poop, which is special for the baby koalas.
Oh.
So the little koalas, they crawl out of the mommy's little pouch and then they
have to get it themselves?
They put their face right up to the butt and they eat the poop as it comes out.
You're a liar.
No.
You're a liar.
There are YouTube videos of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you doing this during work?
I will tell you that this was originally given, the comic that made me look up this fact was given to me by our colleague, Samantha.
Oh.
But I did my research and there are poop videos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Australia's weird.
Yeah. So little baby kangaroos. Nope. Wrong down under. You did that to me.
Maybe they are called joeys because both of them have pouches where the baby's in. And it's like that type of animal. The babies are just called joeys.
I will say, though, I don't think that baby kangaroos eat their mom's poop, but baby koalas definitely
You don't know.
Pat.
They could. Well, they missed an opportunity to call baby koalas Coeys.
Oh, so cute.
Or even Chloe's. Why not? Just Chloe's.
Kardashians. No.
They're not even Australian.
They're worldly. But anyway, I hope that this poop fact is something that made you go, what?
I mean, it did. And I don't like it. And I will never look at baby koalas ever again. They're little poop eaters.
Little poop eaters.
God, I can't believe they put their faces right up to the butt.
Yeah,
How dare the mother not just scoop it and feed it to them?
She's busy eating eucalyptus.
Well, put it down for 1 second.
No.
Barbara.
No. Barbara the koala says, get it yourself, kids.
Yeah, she's from Long Island.
She's from Long Island.
All right. New comic coming out soon. Barbara and Chloe, the koalas.
The pooping pap koalas.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for listening to A Bite Of. Artwork and editing by our own Noah. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at A Bite Of Pod and on Facebook at A Bite Of. If you have questions, recommendations, or just want to say hi, you can email us at abiteofpod@gmail.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate and review to spread the word. Hope you join us next time on A Bite Of. Bye.